Hello and welcome to the show. You know, you have tuned in on the right show. If you are looking for encouragement, if you're looking to be inspired, this is definitely the show for it. We are excited today to have our guest. Our guest today is an entrepreneur, a lifelong entrepreneur. She has never worked in corporate America. She went straight into entrepreneurship and has done that for many years. She's also a politician. And to top that off, she's a minister of the gospel. And she's under 40 years old. Rachel Proctor, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
I will tell you, if we just look through your story, and I'm just so amazed at your story. First thing first, let's tell folks who you are, and then I want to just delve right into this whole entrepreneurship thing, but I want to first give them some background. Who is Rachel Proctor?
Wow, I think just as far as who I am, of course, just theoretically speaking, Mayor Pro Tem of the city of DeSoto, Texas. It's actually a city that I grew up in and was raised in, and so I'm just so honored to be able to serve the city that I grew up in. An entrepreneur. Again, I grew up watching my dad start several businesses and just kind of grew up in that vein, and as well as watching him minister the gospel, and so kind of just following in his footsteps.
Wow. I didn't realize that. Okay, I didn't realize. So your dad was a minister as well?
Yes, so I'm a PK, a preacher's kid, as they say.
So let's talk about this. I mean, first and foremost, you said it. You're the Mayor Pro Tem of the city that you grew up in. Was that an aspiration, a childhood aspiration or something? Or how did that happen?
You know what? It actually, I can't look back and say that I ever knew that I would be specifically in that position. I've always been one that has always seek to make change or to evoke change. And I know that there are certain types of change that you only can help to steer when you get a seat at the table. Yeah. I actually was interested in running for the school board at that time. Yeah. And it was just kind of one of those things that instinctively the opportunity presented itself, and I prayed about it, and God said, this is the opportunity for you. Man.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And have been in this position now since 2014.
Since 2013, actually.
13, okay.
Since 2013, actually. I was actually initially elected during the special election. Yeah. One of the council members ended up getting married, moving out of the district, and again, it opened up that particular seat, and so I ran for her unexpired term and was elected unopposed, and then, you know, that subsequent year in 2014 is when I ran for my first full term.
Okay, all right. And all of this under 40 years old. I got to keep pointing that out, man. Because again, I think, you know, what it speaks to is the impact that we as parents have on our children, because you said you're modeling a lot after what your dad did.
Absolutely.
You know, so to see that you've done this at such a young age, I mean, I really just admire it and respect and appreciate that. Wow. And hope we can get other young people to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
I want to get into this entrepreneurship thing, because you have so many unique aspects to your story. First and foremost, you're an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur, but have never ever worked in corporate America. That's a rare thing.
Yes, absolutely. I tell people all the time, I was probably 13 or 14 learning how to make payroll with my dad, just working alongside him. And it was one of those things, and I actually did end up going off to college, and I had other aspirations. I actually wanted to teach school. And it just, again, kind of one of those things instinctively, God was showing me that there were, you know, more and other things that he had for me to do using my skill set and using my abilities. And so I just ended up right there in entrepreneurship again.
Let's talk about your business. You do property management.
I do.
Let's talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I actually started my own property management company, and it's so funny. When I initially launched into entrepreneurship, it was initially helping my family to run our early childhood facility here in the Dallas area.
Yeah. And so, you were getting paid. You were charging them for that.
Oh yes.
I was on the skills that Dad taught you.
yes. And so it was actually in about 2016 that I actually launched out to start my own company. So it's Chris, I tell you, it's so different when you are working underneath someone and you all are building it together, but when you launch out on your own to start your own endeavor, it's easy to maintain what someone else started, but when you start launching out, it's a whole different thing. But it's been a journey. It's been fun. I've grown a lot as an entrepreneur. There were a lot of things, even having just grew up in an entrepreneurial family, there was still so much to learn, and so I've enjoyed the journey so far.
What have you learned most about yourself in being an entrepreneur?
Well, I think one of the things that I've learned the most about myself is you don't know what you have until you have to have it. So there's been a lot of times when I've had to really, really, really dig deep and really pull out those lessons that I have learned. I didn't realize I'd gleaned so much until I had to actually put it into action.
Yeah.
And so that's been interesting to see how those lessons that I didn't even know that I was getting have come back up over the past few years to help me to get through that that entrepreneurial journey. Because entrepreneurship is tough.
It is. It is.
It's very tough.
I'm one myself. I understand it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what? One of the things I appreciate about you is you have now taken a lot of what you've learned, and you're now helping others to have success in their area of life, in business, and in their other areas of their life as well. And I want to talk to you more about that when we come back.
Sure.
More with Rachel Proctor when we come back. You stay with us.
CEOs, nonprofit executives, and newly published authors. You have tried everything to get in front of the media. You've hired a publicist. You've designed your media kit and spent thousands on press releases and media advisories. But to no avail. You know that video produces 86% more credibility than copy, but you're not getting in front of those cameras. Chris Howell Communications is offering a solution. We're giving you a unique opportunity to sit down with a veteran broadcast journalist underneath the lights in front of 3 cameras, accompanied by a professional makeup artist. We'll even edit your video and deliver back to you your broadcast-ready media interview. You can display it on your website, post it to social media, share it with media planners, and deliver it to newsrooms to give them a taste of your story the way only you can tell it. And once you have great footage, the cameras will keep coming. Get the media attention your business needs and your story deserves. Contact us today to reserve your space at chrishowellcommunications.com/interview.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Hello, I'm Chris Howell. With over 2 decades of being in broadcast and media, I understand the importance of great media exposure. And we want to offer you a unique opportunity. The opportunity to sit one-on-one to tell your story. You've been searching for a way to tell your story. You've been searching for a way to get on large stages and to sit with national media companies or newsrooms. We're going to give you that opportunity. We're going to give you the opportunity to pay a small fee to sit one-on-one. We're going to then package that interview in a way that will get you in front of newsrooms or newsroom directors. We're going to package that in a way that will allow you to get in on some of those stages that you've been trying to get on. Because many times folks want to see how you will respond on camera. So what this interview will do is give you the opportunity to allow them to hear you tell your story in a way that only you can tell it, but then it will also show them how you will respond on camera, thereby allowing you to get the media exposure you've been searching for. So go to the website, chrishowellcommunications.com. chrishowellcommunications.com is the website. Go there, register today to reserve your seat, and I look forward to sitting with you one-on-one. Welcome back. Today we're talking with Rachel Proctor. Rachel Proctor is this amazing individual who's under 40 years old, who's a successful entrepreneur. She's the mayor pro tem of DeSoto, Texas, and she is a minister of the gospel, all under 40 years old. I just keep saying that. Probably getting on your nerves, but I keep saying
You're okay.
But so many times we hear these young people need to step up and do so much more.
Right.
Well, you're a young person who stepped up and doing so much more. So I just want to give you your props.
Thank you.
But you know, before we went to break, we talked about the fact that not only have you stepped up, but you're helping other people to step up. You have launched this Emerge. I want to call it a platform because you've got an app, you've got classes, your retreats, everything is built into Emerge.
Yes.
It's a movement. I just thought about that when I said that. Maybe it's a movement.
Yes. So a little bit about Emerge. It was one of those things, again, kind of like I told you, just kind of one of those things I stumbled into instinctively almost. I didn't realize what I was creating. And I think that's one of the great things about entrepreneurship as well as God gives us, he's a creator. So he gives us the ability to take nothing and create something out of it. And so it was one of those things that I just really loved to utilize the ability to inspire and encourage people to walk into their journey, because it was one that I was taking. So I ended up taking a lot of people along with me, whether that's faith, whether that's just in life in general, or love, or relationships, or even in business. You know, everybody isn't called to be an entrepreneur, but maybe you're called to start a nonprofit, or maybe your area is corporate America. So I wanted to just make sure that there were things that I was able to put out there that God was giving me inspiration to do, no matter what your journey is, that you're able to do that. And
I want to break it down a little bit more, because it's not just for women. I was about to say, I want women to really be able to embrace this and become a part of this. But you have breaking this. I mean, when you go to your website, I mean, you have all these inspirational videos. I see pictures of you guys taking retreats. So is it a number of weeks that you participate in a classroom setting, or how do you become part of what you're doing with Emerge?
Sure. I think one of the main ways that I've stayed connected with a lot of people through this particular movement is through the Emerge Online devotional app. So that encompasses just about everything.
Okay.
So we recently had what we call the Emerge Live Masterclass. So that was one of the things. We spent an entire weekend. We brought in different, what you would call subject matter experts, ministers of the gospel as well, preachers, teachers, and what have you. And they were able to hit a myriad of things, again, to target whatever those areas are that you're trying to advance in life. So I would say that one of the first ways that individuals have stayed connected with me, again, is through that particular app. We have different classes, again, that kind of hit a wide range of topics and areas. So that's something that we're looking to continue on, you know, as the years come. Yeah.
So really, I guess it really boils down to really, no matter what area of life you're feeling stuck in, there's a way for you to connect with Emerge and possibly get exactly what you need to move beyond where you are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what's you've got a pulse on this. I mean, I see your social media following. You've got a tremendous social media following. What are you hearing most from most people that they're bothered by most today?
I think one of the things that I hear, and that's more overarching, is the topic of fear.
Man.
I think sometimes it can be, you know, one of those things that, well, what is fear really? You know, and I see a lot of people really being stuck because they don't know what to expect. It isn't that they've never seen anyone do the particular thing that they're doing, but they just don't know what to expect for them, or they don't believe it for themselves. And so I think fear will keep them in a place to where they just don't do anything at all. That's one of the things that I see the most.
Okay. So as you look across the landscape, I mean, you do it from so many different levels, being a business owner, being in politics, and being a minister of the gospel. What I guess, give us a sense of what you would say to individuals that are part of your Emerge group to give them a sense of hope.
Sure. I think one of the things that helps me on a practical note, I won't even say this on a more so spiritual note, but I think when you begin to learn about the thing that it is that you want to do, whether that's run for office, or whether that's start a business, or whether that's get out of a toxic relationship, whatever it is, I think when you begin to learn the steps, it lessens the anxiety around the thing that you're trying to do, right? Because, you know, preparation builds confidence. When you're preparing, if you say you want to start a business, well, are you showing God, you know, that your faith? Preparation is the highest act of faith. So when we start to prepare, when we start to learn about whatever it is, I think it lessens the anxiety. Of course, it lessens the unknowns around it, and it gives us more confidence to say, hey, you know, this isn't as hard as I thought it would be, or, you know, these are some of the steps. And so it kind of gives us a little bit more clarity, because clarity comes with action. When we begin to act and ask God for direction and wisdom, I think He will give it to us. And so I think when you begin to learn about things, I think that's one of the keys to getting unstuck and to moving forward, and to getting the inspiration and the confidence you need to move forward. That's good.
Because that's one of the things we always want to do on this show, is we always want to give folks some information that they can use to move them beyond where they are. And I like what you have a journal, My To Achieve journal. It's to plan your day and conquer your year. Talk about that.
Sure. A little bit about the journal. So it was one of those things that, again, kind of, I looked at some of the things that I was doing, not even realizing that I was doing them, in regards to steps or systems that I had in particular. And that's one of the things that I think again, is one of the keys to actually accomplishing things throughout the year. When we look at the year, what we want to do for the year, I think it's the daily decisions that determine your destiny, the things that you achieve. You have to be doing those things. You have to be addressing those things on a daily basis. And so really the journal is one that helps you from a spiritual level, but also on a practical level, asking God about what season of life you're in, because I think that's a big factor when we look at what should I be devoting my energy to? What should I be devoting my time to? So it addresses now in
as
this
opposed
season,
to where I was several years ago.
Right, exactly. And so I think it gives you all of those tools. But again, on a practical note, it breaks down how you should be planning out your day, because so many people just kind of go about their day just hoping everything falls in place and end up just doing everything everybody else wants them to do, rather than them telling time what they need it to do for them today. It's just like budgeting money. You have to tell every dollar where to go. I think in your day, you have to tell every hour what it needs, where it needs to go. So that only comes with planning. That only comes with setting boundaries. And so the journal addresses a lot of those different things in different segments, and it breaks it down for you as far as how you should be planning your day to actually achieve those quarterly goals and up to those annual goals as well.
You know, I love the way you put that correlation between time and money, because we can easily understand that. Because we know how it feels when you just have dollars going out there like, where did my money go?
Yes.
Where did my time go?
Yes.
That helps you to put it back in perspective.
Yes, yes.
You know, I think all of what you just said there really helps you to really keep your life in balance. And when we come back in just a moment, I want to talk to you because, again, we pointed out before, you know, you're an entrepreneur. And being an entrepreneur in and of itself, I mean, that's a lot. Yes. And then to take that on, you are also Mayor Pro Tem for the city of DeSoto. And you're a minister of the gospel. Those are a lot of things going on. How do you balance all of that? And I want to talk to you about that when we come back. Stay with us. We'll be back with more of Rachel Proctor. I hope you're enjoying the show, because I really am.
CEOs, nonprofit executives, and newly published authors. You have tried everything to get in front of the media. You've hired a publicist. You've designed your media kit and spent thousands on press releases and media advisories. But to no avail. You know that video produces 86% more credibility than copy, but you're not getting in front of those cameras. Chris Howell Communications is offering a solution. We're giving you a unique opportunity to sit down with a veteran broadcast journalist underneath the lights in front of 3 cameras, accompanied by a professional makeup artist. We'll even edit your video and deliver back to you your broadcast-ready media interview. You can display it on your website, post it to social media, share it with media planners, and deliver it to newsrooms to give them a taste of your story the way only you can tell it. And once you have great footage, the cameras will keep coming. Get the media attention your business needs and your story deserves. Contact us today to reserve your space at chrishowellcommunications.com/interview.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish.
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Hello, I'm Chris Howell. With over 2 decades of being in broadcast and media, I understand the importance of great media exposure. And we want to offer you a unique opportunity. The opportunity to sit one-on-one to tell your story. You've been searching for a way to tell your story. You've been searching for a way to get on large stages and to sit with national media companies or newsrooms. We're going to give you that opportunity. We're going to give you the opportunity to pay a small fee to sit one-on-one. We're going to then package that interview in a way that will get you in front of newsrooms or newsroom directors. We're going to package that in a way that will allow you to get in on some of those stages that you've been trying to get on. Because many times folks want to see how you will respond on camera. So what this interview will do is give you the opportunity to allow them to hear you tell your story in a way that only you can tell it, but then it will also show them how you will respond on camera, thereby allowing you to get the media exposure you've been searching for. So go to the website, chrishowellcommunications.com. chrishowellcommunications.com is the website. Go there, register today to reserve your seat, and I look forward to sitting with you one-on-one. Hello and welcome back. We're having an amazing show today. We're talking with the one and only Rachel Proctor, who is just doing so many wonderful things. If you've got a young person in your house, you really might want to grab them and bring them in front of the television. This young lady is under 40 years old, and she is just doing so many amazing things to positively impact the lives of other people and in our community. You know, Rachel, I mean, again, the more we sit here and talk, I mean, I had your bio and all the wonderful things that you're doing, but the more we sit here and talk and just hear of all you're doing, I'm just even more, and I don't like to use the word impressed, but I respect you a whole lot more.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, we talked, before we went to break, we talked about the fact that you're an entrepreneur, you're a minister of the gospel, and you also are a politician. You serve as mayor pro tem for the city of DeSoto. And then on break, I looked at your bio and it says you will be the recipient of the 27th Annual Distinguished African American Alumni Award presented by the University of Texas at Arlington African American Alumni Chapter, which will take place February 2018.
Yes.
So congratulations.
Thank
My
you.
word.
Thank you.
Talk about how you balance all of this.
Well, I think the key to balancing for me, I guess, and I'll speak personally, one of the things, and I kind of briefly hit on it before we went to break, is knowing what season of life you're in.
Yeah.
I think that's been so key for me as far as making sure that I'm devoting my time to the things that I can only do in this season of life. And it's been it's been one of those things that I've really had to really look, and I think it came for me when my dad passed in 2015, and there was a kind of an epiphany that I had with what am I actually doing with my life? How will people actually know that I was here? Wow. Because it helped me to realize the frailty of life, and that life is just, you know, life is not promised. And so it really lit a fire underneath me to make sure that I was devoting myself and my time and my energies and my skill sets and even my influence to make sure that those things were growing. So I think, again, it's about knowing what season of life you're in and realizing that, okay, right now I'm in a single season, I'm not married, so I have the time to go and to travel and to do these different things, but understanding that, you know, when that changes for me, that, you know, my priorities will have to shift. I think it's, again, about, just kind of taking it in that vein, again, knowing what your priorities are.
Yeah.
But also balancing in the sense when we think of what balance is, making sure that I am taking that time to ebb and flow between rest and work, because that's so key too.
Yeah. You know, you said something there. I want to delve into that a little bit more. You talked about being single. Obviously, you're not a single woman who's just sitting saying, well, where's my Boaz? I hope he comes soon. You're busy. So Boaz is going to have to catch up with you. Talk about the importance of that, because I think today so many women who may find themselves in the season of being single, they are so caught up with trying to find that mate to where they may be missing a lot of what God has for them to do in this season.
And I've seen that. A lot just from examples that are very close to me. It's when you spend all your time trying to get to another season, you a lot of times miss opportunities that come in this season. And I hear people say this all the time, well, what's for me won't pass me by. But I do believe that sometimes if we are not on top of what we're doing or not focused in on what God really wants or what the will of God for your life is for that time and season, we will miss out on a few things. And I've seen them, you know, they get into another season, they finally get that thing that they were thinking that they wanted, and then they hadn't really fulfilled or walked out their purpose. And so that was something, again, that I looked at. I don't believe that God intends for us to learn every lesson by having to go through it. So I've also looked very closely at examples to say, hey, Rachel, you better start maximizing this time that you have to do these things, because there will come a time when those priorities will have to shift. So I think that's a key thing.
Man, you're such a wise young woman, such a wise young woman. So let's talk about, how did you know that God had called you to minister the gospel?
I think it was one of those things, again, like I said earlier, it was almost instinctive, but it was also one of those things that I had to finally stop running from. I think growing up in a preacher's household, and I have pictures of even sitting with my dad while I was a very small child with a bottle in my mouth, you know, and him in the pulpit. So it's kind of one of those things. It's all I've ever known as far as being in a ministry family. And I think one of those things for me is that I always ran from it, because it was like, well, I'm not going to do it because, you know, I saw this and I saw this go on, and we see the good, the bad, and the ugly growing up. And it was one of those things that I ran from, but I had to realize that, you know, what's in me was in me, and and I finally slowed down long enough for that calling to really catch me. So to that person who's out there, who's watching, who, you know, knows, not feels, but knows that they have a call in their life, but they're running from it, what's your words of advice to them? Surrender. I think surrender brings with it peace, to know that you are really in the will of God, and even when things come your way that aren't the best things, or things come, to challenge you, I think that when you really know that you're walking in the will of God and that you're being obedient to what He's called you to do, it brings a sense of peace. And it brings effectiveness, because when you're walking in whatever God called you to do, He's going to equip you to do it. And so I believe that when you're doing that, you will be effective in it, and you don't have to worry about being effective in it, because God is gonna called you to be effective, because you're doing what He called you to do.
Okay. I'm going to maybe somewhat put you on the spot here. I think you can handle it, though, because you've handled everything else just so well.
Okay.
No doubt, as I sit here and I listen to you talk, and you mentioned it a couple of times, the impact that your father had on your life. Talk to us as men. Help us to understand the impact that we really have on our daughters. Because I can see your father certainly had a positive impact on your life and all of what you're doing. Talk to us a little bit.
I would say that to any dad wondering about if their presence means anything, I would say it matters. It definitely matters, because it's one of those things that helps to build our self-confidence as women. And it helps us to understand who we are as women. I think that the role that my dad played in our home, specifically speaking, just as a father, as a priest over our home, it helped me to understand, again, my role as a woman. It also helped me to, again, understand those things that I should allow and shouldn't allow as it pertains to dating, and even when I'm in getting a mate, somebody that I would marry. I think it matters. And it's just so important, because it helps us to understand our identity, not even just our identity of who we are on earth, but just who we are in God as women and growing up. I think I can't stress that enough. That's the first thing that came to my mind as you were talking, is that it matters. Yeah. Because sometimes we do things and we don't necessarily see the results. And so I think just as human men or women, I think sometimes that if we don't really necessarily see it, or if we don't hear anything that affirms what we're doing, we feel like it doesn't matter. Yeah. But it matters.
Man, good stuff, good stuff. In closing, there's been a lot of talk about women today and the role that women play in society, and really giving women their props, aside from all the other things that are out there on the surface with abuse, things of that nature. What's your assessment of everything that's going on today as it relates to women?
I think this is a time when women are finding their voice. Yeah. I think it's a time when a lot of women who have been in the shadows and who have put how they feel or what they need, or just things that they've endured, on the back burner for the sake of, whether that's mothers for their children or just whatever it is. I think this is a time that women are finding their voice and they're beginning to step up. I think that the support or just the bravery of some women have caused other women, again, to see that they are not alone. Yeah. I definitely see that this is a time that women are stepping up. Women are challenging the status quo. Women are challenging stereotypes, things of that degree. And I'm really glad to see a lot of the things that are going on as far as women being able to find their voice and just finding their place in society, in ministry, in business, in all of the roles that women have been slighted in, and not to make an absolute statement, but a lot of areas where women have not received the props or have not received the recognition for their talents and for their giftings. I definitely see women are getting the courage, because I see a bigger sense of unity, one that I didn't see before, as far as women coming together to help one another, to move along. We're grabbing each other by the hands and we're saying, hey, sister, you can do this. You have a voice, you have a purpose, because that's one of the things that I believe. I don't believe God makes spare people. Yeah. And so sometimes people, you're just here. I think that, before we even were a person, we were a purpose, and we only became that person with the unique giftings and talents that we have to fulfill that purpose. And so I think that women are finding that. Women are uncovering things that they didn't even know were there, and I'm glad to see it.
And I'm glad to see you. I heard that preacher in you there. You just, I mean, boy, you just rattled it off there. And I really appreciate you and really want more of our young girls to see you. Again, you know, an entrepreneur, you're a politician, and you're in the pulpit as a minister of the gospel. I mean, those are the areas that are really where we need to see more of our influence. And to see you as a sister doing it, I just wanted an opportunity to sit and talk with you and to allow others to just partake in your giftings. So
well, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I hope you've enjoyed this show today with Rachel. And again, I want you to go to her website. We'll put her website information on the screen. Become a part of Emerge and everything that she has going on. Enroll your daughters into it. You get into it and really help to take this movement even further, because she's really doing a lot of great things to help women, again, find their voice and to allow the rest of the world to be a part of it. So another great show for you. I hope you've enjoyed it. We'd love to hear from you. Be sure to drop us a line. Go to our website, chrishowellonline.com, and share your thoughts about today's show as well. Until the next time, take care of yourself.